Morning that the city of Baltimore is now proposing a settlement with the family of Freddie Gray. Gray, of course, died from a spinal injury that he sustained while in police custody. That was back in April. A source close to the family confirms that the proposed settlement, is $6.4 million. That settlement still must be approved by the city's Board of Estimates. It would be larger than the payouts for 102 other lawsuits brought since 2011. Combined, all of those together. The city would accept civil liability but would not acknowledge any wrongdoing on the part of the city or police.
Joining us now from Washington is Laura Coates, a former assistant U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. This is a lot of money. As Kate was just saying, I mean, more than years of settlements combined. I think only a small handful of settlements ever exceeded $200,000. This is well above that. So what does the amount tell you here?
The amount tells me that although they're saying that it's going to be not for criminal liability and they're only taking civil liability, what it's really telling the public is that we acknowledge that there has been some wrongdoing, and to avoid an excess and more millions of dollars in damages to the family of Freddie Gray, we're going to settle now before it gets exponentially higher. This is a broadcast to you that they are predicting that there will be liability and, in fact, particularly convictions in this case, and that there was wrongdoing done. Keep in mind that in the Eric Garner case in New York, it was about the same amount of money that was settled for. And of course, in that case, it did not lead to an indictment of the officers, but they're still requesting the Department of Justice and the Civil Rights Division still investigate that claim. Here, we've got a pending trial coming weeks away. And more importantly, tomorrow, there's going to be a hearing to decide whether Baltimore should be the appropriate venue. Now, given this, go ahead.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, because you say it acknowledges some wrongdoing, but it also, they very explicitly say that this proposed settlement doesn't resolve any of the factual disputes about the case, that it's not requiring that it's an admission of liability on the part of the city or the police, which of course makes everyone wonder, when you've got a settlement proposed of this huge number, what does it mean for the cases, the criminal cases and the trials that these 6 officers are still facing?
It has a very, very strong impact. And in fact, I think it really weighs against the officers because, as I said, there will be a hearing tomorrow to discuss pending motions to decide whether Baltimore is the appropriate venue. The reason for that motion is because the defense attorneys are saying there's no way we can get a fair trial in Baltimore. There's been the rioting, there's been the influence on all the different jurors. They may not be able to be unbiased in this case because of all the publicity and because of the rioting and because of the different personalities that have come into play in this case. So now you have a settlement that essentially says we're going to give $6 million in taxpayer dollars, more than any other settlement that we've had in years, and the culmination being higher than even all those. And we're saying to you now, please be fair and impartial when you decide the fate of those 6 officers in 6 separate trials. It has an extreme impact that will influence the judge.
And you can bet these defense attorneys will argue over the next few days, how can they have a fair trial in this city when that has just agreed to pay this money?
Pay out this huge number.
Laura Coates, interesting conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
All right, high anticipation for the Late Show debut of Stephen Colbert. How much pressure now on this comic, and what will it take to fill David Letterman's shoes?